Today we're going to be doing some geography together. Now we've had one lesson on geography so far this term from the home learning, and that asked you to have a look at the UK, to find the countries in the UK, the capital cities of the countries, and also the bodies of water that surround the UK. We also asked you to have a look at a map of Europe to see if you can identify the countries. That was our first lesson. Hopefully you all got on with that really well. Today I'm going to talk you through our second lesson, and there are two parts to it. The first part is to locate the equator, the northern and the southern hemispheres, and the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn on a world map. And then we're going to continue looking at that world map to see if you can recognise and name the 7 continents of the world. So, before I carry on, this presentation that I'm going to talk you through today, it is all saved on the school website, so you can look at it afterwards if you need to at any point to refer back to what I've been speaking to you about today. Right, so the first thing we need to move on to now is to have a look at some wonderful vocabulary. It is both geography vocabulary and maths vocabulary as well. So, the words underneath here are very, very important. The first one is sphere, which refers to a shape. It is a 3D circle, if you like, and hopefully you know that our world, which is shown here in this globe, is a whole sphere. And the reason why we need to know that is because you need to understand what the word hemisphere means and how that relates to our world. Because as you can see, we have got something here called the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And basically what that is you have to pretend that you have taken the world and almost chopped it in half at the middle. So you've sliced through it, if you like. And then the top half, the top slice, we refer to as the northern hemisphere, which is actually where we are now in the UK. And the bottom half is known as the southern hemisphere. And for example, that is where Australia is located. So a hemisphere in 3D actually looks like that. So this would be the southern hemisphere, and then the top half there, you would have the northern hemisphere. There is one more word here, which I think you probably are familiar with already. This is the equator. Now, the equator is an imaginary line that goes round the centre of the world. Explained more on this next slide here. So, it is not a line you can see. That's the first mistake lots of people make. The equator is an imaginary line. It's often shown on pictures of the world as an actual line, but it is imaginary, and it goes round the Earth at the centre and it forms a circle. And that is how we divide the Earth into its northern and southern hemispheres. It's kind of like the world is wearing a belt, if you like. Imagine a belt around the centre of the world. That's the equator, and we've got the northern hemisphere at the top and the southern hemisphere at the bottom. Another interesting fact to try and remember is the Earth is at its widest where the equator is. So here we have a map which shows most things that I've been talking about already. So we have the equator, which is the line in the centre, and then everything above the equator we refer to as the northern hemisphere, and everything below the equator we refer to as the southern hemisphere. You may also realise there are 2 other lines shown on this world map. This one here is the Tropic of Cancer, and the one at the bottom here is the Tropic of Capricorn. Again, they are imaginary lines that run in a circle all the way around the world. Okay. What I've got here now is another world map that takes away all of the imaginary lines and the tropics and the hemispheres, and it just focuses on the continents. Now, we have referred to continents before when we were doing our work on ancient Greece and ancient Egypt in history. There are 7 continents in our world, and this map makes it very easy for you to see them because each one is a different colour. So we have North America and South America, Africa and Europe, which is where we currently are in the UK, Asia, Australasia, and at the bottom here we have Antarctica. So those are the 7 continents in the world. Now, the next few slides of this presentation are information all about the different continents. Okay? So this one here tells you what a continent is, and it lists them out for you there, and you can read that information for yourself when you go through the presentation at home. You can also have a read of these pages. I'll show you the first one. What I've done for you here is put up a page of information about each one of the 7 continents. And it is really important that you read this information because you're going to need to use it for your activity this afternoon. Now, the activity I've put at the end of the presentation underneath all the information about the 7 continents. There are in fact 2 activities. The first one is quite short. On our website we have got a worksheet called the 7 continents, and all you need to do is just to make sure that you can put the right name with the correct continent. You can print the worksheet off if you'd like to and fill it in, or you can just have a look at it on the screen and see if you can match the right name to the right continent. That's the first activity. The second activity is this one here. It asks you to choose a continent and create a fact file page about it. So you can use this lesson presentation that is saved on the website. I've also put a document of extra information about each of the continents on the website too, for you to have a read through. You can also use the internet to do some extra research yourself about the continent you have chosen to do your fact file on. Just remember, if you are going to do your own research, let your parents know first that you are using the internet, and make sure that you use Year 3, Key Stage 2 or the words for kids when you are searching about Europe or Africa or Asia, just so the information that you get is suitable for you and easy to read through with pictures and that sort of thing. There are 4 things that you need to do to create your fact file. I'm going to work through them like we're doing in class, bronze, silver, gold challenge. The first thing you need to incorporate somewhere in your fact file is a list of at least 5 different animals that live in your chosen continent. Once you've done that, for the silver, you need to explain some of the natural features that are found on your chosen continent. For example, mountains, deserts. For the gold, you need to demonstrate something that your chosen continent is famous or well known for. How you present that part of your fact file is up to you. It can be a piece of writing, it can be a picture, it can be a diagram. It is completely up to you. But something that the continent you have chosen is famous for. And then finally, as a bit of a challenge at the end, would you like to live in the continent you have chosen to do a fact file about? And whether the answer is yes or no, you must justify your answer using some of the evidence and the examples and the information that you have found. Now, you can be quite creative with your fact file. You can complete it in your exercise book where you have lined paper. You can choose to take a more artistic approach and you could do a poster or a leaflet. You could even choose to create something on the computer that is a fact file. We don't mind what you create, we are just looking forward to seeing them when you come back into school. So hopefully all of this has been helpful and you will enjoy creating your fact files. We'll be back next week with lesson 3, so have fun.